Have you ever wondered what happens to your soul when you sleep? Is it just resting, or does it travel to a different world? This question has intrigued many people for centuries, and today, we're going to dive deep into what Islam teaches us about the soul during sleep. In our daily lives, we tend to think of sleep as simply a time to rest. We close our eyes, drift off, and wake up feeling refreshed, or sometimes tired. But sleep is more than just a break for the body. In fact, in Islam, sleep is described as a kind of death, but not the permanent kind. It's a temporary separation between the body and the soul. What does Islam say about sleep and the soul? The Quran gives us a fascinating perspective on what happens when we sleep. In Surah Az-Zumar 39:42, it says, "It is Allah who takes away the souls at the time of death, and those that die not during their sleep." This verse tells us that when we sleep, Allah takes our souls temporarily. This separation between the body and soul is not the same as the final death, but rather a state of rest for both the body and soul. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also spoke about the soul during sleep. He said, "When a person goes to sleep, Allah takes his soul. When he wakes up, Allah returns it to him." Sahih Muslim. This hadith further clarifies that while we sleep, our souls are temporarily separated from our bodies. But where exactly do they go? What happens to them during this time? According to Islamic teachings, the soul experiences different states while it is separated from the body. Some scholars believe that during sleep, the soul enters a kind of world of dreams, or another realm. This is the world where our dreams take place, and many believe this is where the soul might experience glimpses of the afterlife or the unseen. But the soul doesn't just float aimlessly during sleep. The soul is still under the control and protection of Allah, and its journey depends on the person's deeds, faith, and overall life. For those who lead righteous lives, the soul experiences peace and comfort when it is separated from the body during sleep. These individuals might see pleasant dreams or have a sense of serenity when they sleep. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "A good dream is from Allah, and a bad dream is from Shaitan." Sahih al-Bukhari. When a person has a good dream, it is a sign of the peace their soul experiences. Good dreams are a blessing from Allah and a reflection of the purity of the soul. These individuals, whose hearts are aligned with the will of Allah, find rest and rejuvenation during sleep. In contrast, those who lead lives filled with disobedience to Allah may experience disturbing dreams or restlessness. Their souls may not find the same peace and serenity. Instead, they may experience a sense of discomfort as their actions in life have affected their spiritual state. The soul's journey during sleep is also an opportunity for it to connect with Allah in a special way. Sleep is a form of worship in Islam, and it is considered an act of submission to Allah's will. Every night, when we lay down to sleep, we are in a state of reliance on Allah's mercy. We trust that He will take care of us, protect us, and bring us back to life when we wake up. Before sleeping, Muslims are encouraged to recite specific prayers, du'as, that protect them during the night. One such prayer is the Ayat al-Kursi from Surah al-Baqarah 2:255, which is often recited for protection. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught his followers to recite this verse before sleep to ensure safety from harm during the night. Another important prayer is the Mu'awwidhat, which includes Surah al-Falaq 113 and Surah an-Nas 114. These surahs seek Allah's protection from evil and harm, and by reciting them, Muslims ensure their souls are safeguarded while they sleep. These prayers reflect the idea that even when our souls are temporarily separated from our bodies, we are still under Allah's watchful care. When we wake up from sleep, our souls are returned to our bodies. But this return is not just a physical event, it's a spiritual one as well. When we wake up, we are reminded of Allah's mercy, for He has given us another chance at life, another opportunity to worship Him, and another day to strive for goodness. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us to begin each day with gratitude and recognition of Allah's blessings. One of the first things a Muslim should say upon waking up is, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana wa ilayhi nushur. This means, all praise is due to Allah, who gave us life after he caused us to die, and to him is the return. Sahih Bukhari. This reminder serves as a connection to the fact that sleep is a temporary death, and waking up is a sign of Allah's mercy in allowing us to continue our lives. Sleep is not just a physical necessity, it's a spiritual practice in Islam. It is a time for the soul to rest, rejuvenate, and prepare for the day ahead. Islam teaches us to approach sleep with mindfulness, to seek protection from harm, and to always remember Allah's presence in our lives, even while we are unconscious. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ established specific guidelines for how Muslims should sleep. For example, he recommended sleeping on the right side, as this is considered the sunnah of the Prophet. It is believed that this position brings blessings and health to the body and soul. Additionally, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged his followers to sleep early and wake up early, emphasizing the importance of a balanced life that includes proper rest. While sleep is a temporary separation of the soul from the body, death is a permanent one. But the concept of the soul's journey during sleep gives us a glimpse into the afterlife. Just as the soul experiences a temporary separation from the body during sleep, death is the final separation, where the soul is taken by Allah permanently. In Islam, we believe that after death, the soul goes to one of two places, Jannah or Jahannam. The soul's final destination depends on the deeds it performed during its life. A righteous soul will experience peace in the afterlife, while an unrighteous soul will face punishment. But what happens to the soul immediately after death? According to the Hadith, when a person dies, their soul is taken by the angels. The soul of a believer is welcomed with mercy and peace, while the soul of a disbeliever faces difficulty and torment. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described the process of death and the soul's journey in detail, offering insights into the fate of the soul after it leaves the body. As we mentioned before, sleep is often described in Islamic teachings as a temporary death. This comparison helps us understand the nature of sleep in a deeper way. Just like how death is the final separation of the soul from the body, sleep is a temporary one. The soul, during both sleep and death, is no longer physically connected to the body. However, while we experience sleep regularly, death is a one-time event, and the journey of the soul is different for both. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, created sleep to remind us of our ultimate fate. Each time we fall asleep, we experience a taste of death, and each time we wake up, it is as though we've been brought back to life. This is a powerful reminder of the Day of Judgment, when every soul will be resurrected and judged by Allah for their deeds. One of the most intriguing aspects of sleep is the phenomenon of dreams. We've all had dreams, some good and some bad, some strange and some meaningful. In Islam, dreams hold significance, and they are often seen as a way in which the soul communicates with the unseen world. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "A good dream is from Allah, and a bad dream is from Shaitan." Sahih Muslim. Dreams can be a reflection of what the soul experiences while it is separated from the body. Some dreams may be blessings, offering guidance or insights from Allah. Other dreams may be troubling, caused by the influence of Shaitan or by our own thoughts and fears. There are different types of dreams in Islam. Some are dreams of good tidings, or ruya, and some are dreams that may be confusing or frightening, known as hulum, bad dreams. The good dreams are often interpreted as signs from Allah, while the bad dreams are simply to be ignored or seek refuge from. Islam teaches that the state of the soul is closely tied to a person's actions and deeds. Just as our physical health depends on what we eat, drink, and how we take care of our bodies, our spiritual health is influenced by our actions in life. When a person lives according to the teachings of Islam, their soul finds peace and tranquility during sleep. Their soul is at rest, knowing that it is aligned with Allah's will. On the other hand, a person who leads a life filled with sin and disobedience may find their soul in turmoil during sleep. Their dreams may be unsettling, or they may feel restless and disturbed in their sleep. This is a reminder that our actions in life affect our spiritual state, even when we are not fully conscious. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The sleep of a believer is a form of worship." Sahih al-Bukhari. This hadith teaches us that sleep, if done with the right intention, can be an act of worship. If a person sleeps with the intention of resting in order to wake up and serve Allah the next day, their sleep becomes a means of spiritual renewal. This is why sleep in Islam is considered a time for reflection and gratitude, as we acknowledge that even our rest is in the hands of Allah. In Islam, we believe that angels play a significant role in our lives, even while we sleep. Allah has appointed angels to protect us, record our deeds, and carry out various tasks on His behalf. These angels are always with us, and their role doesn't stop when we fall asleep. When we sleep, angels are still watching over us. They protect us from harm and whisper prayers of protection for us. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that every night, 2 angels are assigned to protect each person. They make dua for the individual, asking Allah to grant them peace and safety during the night. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also taught that when a person goes to sleep, the angels ask Allah to forgive them for any mistakes they may have made during the day. They seek Allah's mercy on behalf of the person, ensuring that their sleep is peaceful and free from harm. In addition, the angels record the deeds of a person while they are awake. They continue this task during sleep, ensuring that everything is documented accurately. These records will be presented to a person on the Day of Judgment, where every soul will be judged according to their deeds. When we wake up, the soul is returned to the body, and we become conscious again. This moment of waking is significant in Islam because it serves as a reminder of the resurrection on the Day of Judgment. Just as the soul is returned to the body after sleep, it will be returned to the body after death, and all people will be resurrected for judgment. The act of waking up from sleep is, in a way, a small-scale reminder of what will happen on the Day of Judgment. Allah, in His mercy, grants us another day to live, worship, and make choices that will affect our eternal destiny. As we have seen, sleep is not just a time of physical rest. It is also a time of spiritual significance. It is a moment when the soul is temporarily freed from the body and experiences a journey of its own. This journey can be a reminder of the afterlife and what awaits us after death. In Islam, we believe that life is a test, and how we live our lives will determine our fate in the hereafter. The temporary separation of the soul during sleep serves as a reminder that this life is short, and that we must be mindful of our actions. Just as we prepare for sleep by performing ablution, wudu, and reciting prayers, we should also prepare for death by living according to the teachings of Islam and striving to lead a life of righteousness. On the Day of Judgment, every soul will be judged by Allah. The soul's deeds, whether good or bad, will be weighed on the scales, and the final destination will be determined based on the person's faith and actions. Those who have lived righteous lives will be rewarded with eternal bliss in Jannah, while those who have turned away from Allah will face the consequences of their actions in Jahannam. In Islam, proper sleep is not just a matter of rest. It is an essential part of maintaining our physical and spiritual health. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized the importance of good sleep habits, such as sleeping early, waking up early, and resting in a position that is beneficial for the body. When we sleep properly, we allow our bodies and souls to rest and rejuvenate. This gives us the energy and clarity needed to continue our worship and good deeds during the day. Sleep, in its most basic sense, is a form of self-care, allowing us to be at our best so that we can serve Allah and fulfill our duties as believers. Sleep is not only a time for the body to rest, but also for the soul to rejuvenate. In Islam, we believe that the soul is deeply affected by the way we live our lives. If we live with righteousness and devotion to Allah, our soul remains peaceful even in times of distress. Sleep, therefore, becomes a spiritual respite, a time when we disconnect from the material world and reconnect with the divine. The act of resting and giving ourselves permission to sleep is, in fact, a reminder of the importance of spiritual balance. When we sleep, we allow ourselves to release the burdens and worries of the world, placing our trust in Allah's mercy. This moment of trust in Allah's plan is an opportunity for reflection and mindfulness. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us the importance of resting the body and soul, not just for the purpose of physical recovery, but also for spiritual renewal. In one narration he said, "The strong person is not the one who is physically strong, but the one who is able to control themselves when angry." Sahih al-Bukhari. This teaching emphasizes the need for inner peace and balance, which can be achieved when we rest properly. When we sleep, we have the opportunity to release any lingering negativity or anger and begin the next day with a refreshed mind and soul. In Islamic belief, the concept of barzakh refers to the realm between death and the afterlife. It is a state where the soul resides after death until the day of judgment. Interestingly, sleep can be seen as a small preview of this state. When we sleep, we are in a state that is neither fully awake nor fully dead. Similarly, when we pass away, we enter the state of barzakh, where our souls are separated from the body and await the final resurrection. While the soul is in barzakh, it experiences a waiting period before the ultimate fate is decided on the day of judgment. The soul's experiences in barzakh are closely related to the deeds and intentions of the person during their lifetime. A soul that was righteous and obedient to Allah experiences peace and rest in barzakh, while a soul that was sinful faces punishment and hardship. This illustrates how the soul's journey during sleep can be a reflection of its eventual destination. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described barzakh as a waiting area, where souls remain until the day of judgment. Some souls are at peace, while others face torment, depending on how they live their lives. This should remind us of the importance of maintaining good deeds and consciousness of Allah during our waking hours, as it will directly affect the state of our souls during sleep and beyond. As we explore the connection between sleep and the soul, it's important to consider that the soul's journey may vary depending on the person's spiritual state. For example, a person who maintains a close relationship with Allah, regularly performing acts of worship and seeking forgiveness for their sins, may experience a peaceful and calming rest during sleep. Their soul is at ease, free from the anxiety or negativity that may disturb the sleep of others. On the other hand, a person who is neglectful of their religious duties may experience a disturbed sleep, filled with nightmares or feelings of unease. The soul in such cases is affected by the disobedience to Allah, and this unrest manifests during sleep. The state of the soul during sleep can be a reflection of the state of the soul in life. This is why it is essential to engage in activities that purify the soul and protect it from harm. Engaging in regular acts of worship, remembering Allah frequently, and seeking forgiveness for any wrongdoings can bring tranquility to the soul. This tranquility extends into our sleep, ensuring that the soul rests peacefully during its temporary separation from the body. In Islam, one of the most important practices before sleep is making dua. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught that making dua before sleep is a way to seek protection from harm and to ensure that the soul is in a state of peace. One of the most recommended supplications before sleep is the dua for protection. Bismika Allahumma amutu wa ahya. Sahih Bukhari. This means, in your name, O Allah, I die and I live. This supplication acknowledges that both life and death are in Allah's hands, and that we place our trust in Him as we prepare for sleep. By reciting this dua, we are asking for Allah's protection over our soul during the time it is separated from the body. Additionally, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ advised reciting Ayat al-Kursi, Surah al-Baqarah 255, and the last two verses of Surah al-Baqarah before sleeping, as these provide spiritual protection throughout the night. These acts of remembrance protect the soul from harm, both physically and spiritually, ensuring that the sleep experience is calm and restful. When we wake up, the soul is reunited with the body, and the process of waking up serves as a reminder of resurrection. The soul returns to the body, and we regain our awareness and consciousness. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us the significance of waking up with gratitude and reflection. One of the first things a Muslim should say upon waking is, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana, wa ilayhi nushuru. This means, all praise is due to Allah, who gave us life after He caused us to die, and to Him is the return. Sahih Bukhari. This dua serves as a reminder that waking up is a mercy from Allah, a second chance to live and worship Him. It is a chance to fulfill the purpose for which we were created, to worship and serve Allah. By remembering Allah as soon as we wake up, we are acknowledging His sovereignty and preparing ourselves for a productive day. Waking up with gratitude also helps us to approach the day with a sense of purpose. Instead of viewing waking up as a mundane routine, it becomes an opportunity to strive for goodness, to perform acts of worship, and to make the most of our time on earth. As we have seen, the journey of the soul during sleep is both complex and deeply meaningful. Sleep is a time when the soul is temporarily separated from the body, yet it continues its journey in the unseen world. This journey can be peaceful and restful, or it can be filled with turmoil and unrest, depending on the person's deeds and spiritual state. The soul is connected to the body through the breath of life, and during sleep, it is freed from the physical realm, experiencing moments of spiritual awakening or reflection. The peacefulness of sleep is a reminder of the tranquility that comes from living in alignment with Allah's will. The disturbances in sleep, on the other hand, are reminders to purify our hearts, seek forgiveness, and make amends with Allah. The connection between sleep and the afterlife serves as a powerful reminder of the reality of death and the eventual resurrection. Just as the soul returns to the body after sleep, it will one day return to the body after death, and all souls will be judged by Allah for their actions. As we reflect on the nature of sleep and the journey of the soul, let us strive to make the most of our time, both awake and asleep. Let us ensure that our actions align with the teachings of Islam, that our hearts remain pure, and that we seek Allah's forgiveness regularly. By doing so, we will experience peace in this life and in the next. May Allah bless us with peaceful rest and grant our souls tranquility in this life and the next. Ameen.